All right, let's get artistic with this. Corbin, paint me a picture. What's it look like? What does the Seattle Seahawks victory look like in Week 11? Because it's getting pretty close to do or die time for the Seahawks, and you can't start falling too far behind. There's too many teams to jump, not only in the division, but in the NFC wild card as well. And I know the 49ers fans out there would love to think that they put away the Seahawks here in Week 11 after sweeping them for the season series. So what do the Seahawks have to do? What does the victory look like for Seattle on Sunday?
Look, I could sit here and talk all kinds of X's and O's and different schematic stuff, but listen, at the end of the day, the 49ers have physically beat the Seahawks down in the 6-game winning streak that they've had. The Seahawks have not been able to step up and physically be able to stand toe-to-toe with them. And that's going to be the first key. There's got to be some physicality. You've got to bring it, especially on the road. And rather than sugarcoating things, some might view this as low-hanging fruit, but these are the 3 keys for me away from just being physical. On offense, you've got to find a way to run the football. And I know it seems elementary, but you are not going to go into Santa Clara and beat the 49ers if Geno Smith is throwing the ball 45-plus times. It's not going to happen. They have got to get Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet established. They've got to be able to establish the line of scrimmage a little bit. And for goodness sakes, Ryan Grubb, run more than 2 play-action passes. Please, I'm begging you. Geno Smith is a fantastic play-action passer. Let the run game set that up under center. On defense, find a way to get Christian McCaffrey to the ground and don't let him break tackles and handle your run fits. Very elementary stuff, but they did much better in the Rams game. Ernest Jones has been a really nice addition on that front. Can the rookie Tyrese Knight step in and do a better job than what Tyrell Dodson was doing? If he can, and they can somewhat slow down that run game, I feel like the pass rush might be able to get after Brock Purdy a little more than what they have in past games. And maybe the most important key here, stop turning the ball over on special teams. I can't remember the last time these 2 teams played that Seattle didn't have at least 1 special teams turnover. Laviska Shenault, now he made up for it somewhat with a kick return for a touchdown in that first matchup, but he fumbled the ball, and San Francisco got points off of that in the first half. DJ Dallas, I know it was offense, but they ran an inexplicable play a few years ago where he threw the ball and shot-putted it right into Charvarius Ward's hands for an interception in the red zone. Travis Homer fumbled. I mean, I could keep going. The special teams plays that have gone awry for the Seahawks, they have got to be perfect in that regard. You cannot give the 49ers free possessions off of special teams. If they can do those 3 things, you know, they were able to make last game somewhat interesting late. If you can clean up those issues, you have a chance to win this football game.
Well, the 49ers have been bad on special teams. So the Seattle Seahawks want to help the 49ers by being even worse than the Niners, then I'd say that the ending result for this game should be a win for the 49ers. They've found different ways to either lose games or make games closer than they had to be. I think including that Seattle game where you had that big kickoff return for a touchdown and it started to feel like, man, his momentum started to change a little bit in Seattle's favor. And we've seen that in previous games where the 49ers had 10-point leads, double-digit leads, and they blew it. And they tried to do it again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that is definitely suspect on special teams. But, again, if Seattle wants to help them and be equally as bad or worse, 49er fans definitely won't complain.
I think you touched on something really big too, Corbin. And in some of these games where the 49ers gave them away late, I think you have, first of all, you do have to match the 49ers physicality. And if you are able to match the 49ers physicality, and maybe you don't bully the Niners around or anything like that for 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, but the 49ers have shown that they might get a little tired at the end. And if you keep matching that intensity, you can maybe find a way to pull that out at the end. We've seen it happen in Super Bowls. We've seen it happen multiple times this year against both division opponents, the Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams, where the 49ers had 10-point leads. And it was all I was talking about on Twitter as the Niners were playing the Seahawks is like, hey, you can't lose a 10-point lead if you don't go up 10 points first. And it's exactly what the 49ers look like they were maybe trying to do against the Seahawks. So if you can hang in there against the 49ers, they've shown that maybe they will give it up late. So I think that's a huge one, Corbin, and I think you nailed it. Aside from that, Croc, what's the path for the 49ers?
I think always you can kind of point to taking the ball away, but I would say no blown assignments on the back end. Again, this is a team where if you can kind of stifle the run game, you're going to have Geno Smith throw. But Geno can definitely take advantage of poor secondary or, guys dropping in coverage. He'll throw some really nice balls. So you can't just give him things that would definitely help keep the Seahawks around in this game. So I'd say that back end, you got a lot of young players. I think they contributed to taking the ball away in the first game. Ronaldo Green had an interception. Malik Mustafa had an interception. 2 rookies making impactful plays. But we know with young guys, sometimes it can quickly go the opposite way. So I would say no blown assignments on the back end by those young players.
It's a great one. A good old-fashioned bad special teams off is what's ensuing, it looks like, in this week. Do you have any predictions? Do you want to save predictions, Corbin, for another episode? Do you want to lay on us what you think is going to happen now that you laid out how it should happen in a Seahawks win?
Well, I'm not going to give a score prediction till my Friday show, as I always do. But where's the spread at? Because I have seen it change a couple times already this week.
6.5 right now. The Niners are favored according to FanDuel.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks covering that. I'm not necessarily predicting they're going to win this game, but look, Seattle was able to get back in the game last time these two teams played, and I do think desperation's got to kick in at some point. And if this team can just stop shooting themselves in the foot, I mean, they have beaten themselves as much as other teams have beaten them. If they can play a clean football game, I still think that this is a team that can be dangerous in the second half of the season, but they have to go out and they have to prove it. So, divisional game, Mike McDonald's had an entire extra week here to try to get everything cleaned up a little bit. I'm really curious to see what Seattle looks like, but I think they're going to keep this game close. Now, whether they win it or not, I'll let my listeners know on our Blue Friday show.